Hi, everybody. Welcome to Untapped. My name is Maureen, the even the queen, the even the princess, whichever one you prefer. We're back in another week with the very awesome and I feel like every time I try to do the intro and I try to introduce you, I want to say something nice, but inside I'm like, nah,
say, say what you feeling. Say what you feeling.
not today, fam. How you doing, fam?
Talk your talk. Nah, I'm good. I'm good.
How you been doing? How's the week going?
Week's been chilled. Quite a fast week on my end. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, me too. I took leave this week, so I had like a 4-day week. So pretty chilled, pretty chilled. Otherwise,
Nah, I'm cozy.
okay, okay. Welcome to Untapped Azania. This is Mesh, by the way. He doesn't want to say his name. I'll say
You
it for
didn't give me
you.
an opportunity to. Maybe that's the smoke you have today. Maybe that's the smoke you came with.
Anyway,
Maybe I'm
fam.
not supposed to be known.
What? That is wild.
Well,
What's happening, fam? What have you been tapped into?
uh, a lot.
Yeah, that
But I
happened.
think the one thing that was majorly significant was the Bella bill for me,
Yeah.
right? And it was significant because it sort of brought up the question of like party politics versus like country politics, right?
Yeah.
If you're gonna get, if you're gonna accept a ministerial role, right? And it's under the leadership of a president in a completely different political party than you come from. Do you conform to the ideas of the president or do you conform to the ideas of the party?
Fair.
So I mean, for me, it's clear that it makes sense to conform to the ideas of the president because you
You
are,
agreed to.
yeah, to work under his leadership. But then our minister of education decided she's not going
Yeah.
to
I saw that.
conform, right? And so I don't understand what's going to happen there going forward. Does this sort of hint at a fallout, perhaps in the GNU? So that's been something I've been tapped into. Something else that came across was a clip. I don't know what specific tech conference it was, but it was a clip of the founder of Oracle,
Yeah.
Larry Ellison, right?
By 2029, I can guarantee you AI is not going to be the problem because the simple phrase, the race goes on. And I mean, this is like Formula One. What do I mean by that? It's really not one winner. I mean, you got three people on the podium, but it's really kind of one winner. Someone's going to be better than this than anybody else. And multiple people are trying. And there is a race. If you listen to Jensen Huang, and I'm sure you do, I know you do because I've seen his stock price, and I know I went to dinner with Elon in Nobu Palo Alto. I went to dinner with Elon Musk, Jensen Huang, and I went to dinner, and I would describe the dinner as Oracle and me and Elon begging Jensen for GPUs. Please take our money. Please take our money. By the way, I got dinner. Please take our money. Take more of it. You're not taking enough of it. We need you to take more of our money, please. It went okay. It worked. I mean, uh, yeah. I mean, the demand for GPUs, the desire to be first, the desire to build the most capable neural network in the world, getting there first is a big deal.
He's 80 years old, but he looks good. Like, he looks
Or how good? Like Pharrell
like,
Williams good or like
but
I don't
Pharrell Williams started, ever since Kellis properly came out, he started
okay,
aging.
okay.
But I mean, like, he looks good. For an 80-year-old, I don't know how to say, like, you can tell he's grown, but like, he
He
looks
looks
good.
good.
So for me, it was, I followed the Brian Johnson guy, the longevity guy, the
Yeah.
founder of that startup that was acquired by PayPal, Venmo. So
Oh
he
yeah, yeah.
sold Venmo, made a big buck, and then now he's focused on longevity. Like that's his life goal. And like longevity entails solving the problem of death. Right. So just looking at Larry Ellison, and given that he's a billionaire, and billionaires are working on things that like us as like the marginalized society don't think about or aren't exposed to, I was sort of thinking about that. Like I'd love to like watch an interview, in as much as I am not for longevity. If it ever does become a thing, I wouldn't want to live forever.
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that life ends is what makes
It's
life a
interesting.
thrill.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I wanted to just like maybe a conversation between Larry Ellison and Brian Johnson, because he's done a lot of work in that space. Like he tracks his sleep. He's had perfect sleep throughout the year. Like he tracks his sleep. He ensures that he has the right meals, and his meal composition. That guy. The guy we actually like a lot, Diary of a CEO.
Yeah, he was on that show. I think I saw his interview.
He was on there twice. Like he came there with a lot of pills. But yeah, longevity was on my mind. Like I was just looking at Larry Ellison, and I was just like, whoa, like this guy is actually quite.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But you know what that kind of makes me think of? Like that billionaires and kind of, actually, maybe let me just be specific and say CEOs and all those people, they're allowed to work until like their 80s or like their
But
later
it's a company
year.
that he founded. We need to
No,
also.
but I'm like, he's allowed to work until that age or until a certain age, but we're kept to like
65,
60, whatever. And I'm like, I mean, not everybody can start their own thing and start their own like company, but it makes you think, that actually at that age you kind of realize that like you've been working on somebody else's dream and not yours. Because if you were working on your own dream and your own goals or whatever it is that you value in life, at 60, 65, you would have been able to continue with that or continue with that life. But now you're at 60, 65, and a lot of us just like, oh, I'm at retirement age, it's time to go home and chill. And there is nothing there for you.
Yeah,
There's nothing, you know what I mean?
You raise a valid point. I saw, I think it was this morning actually, if not last night, a post of like the new Nike CEO.
Yeah.
And like his LinkedIn is so interesting because he started as an intern like over 10 years ago. So like he grew. And so it's like...
But 10 years is such a small period.
Yeah, maybe 20. I can't remember this, but he's been there for maybe 20. Maybe.
Okay.
But like, yeah, I think it's about, because he's worked in a lot of roles. He started as an intern, right? But I'm bringing that up because there's the whole concept of intrapreneur with an I, right? Versus entrepreneur with an E, right? And if you create an environment, right, where it's a company, but like you have innovators that are sort of entrepreneurs, and because some people don't want to take on that risk of like starting something, but they want to be in an environment where they can be innovative, right? But it's also just, you're lucky to be in that kind of space.
Yeah, there
right?
aren't many spaces
For most
like
people,
that.
it ends up being a sacrifice where you reflect on your life. And when you see a lot of videos of like old people just randomly being asked about like, what do you regret? It's like the things I didn't do.
Yeah.
It's always on a mission.
Yeah.
It's always on
a mission. It's always like, I should have spent time with my family. I should have spent time with my kids or my wife or my husband, that kind of stuff, you know? So yeah, I hear that. Anything else you've been tapped into, sir?
Interest rates. So there was first the US Federal Reserve decreased by 50 basis points. And then we followed through with 25 basis points. But I think that's significant because I think this just means that we're going to go into the end of the year a bit calm, you know?
Yeah. But a lot of people were disappointed with, like, because a lot of people were expecting that we would keep in the same basis point as the US and be like 50 basis points.
Yeah.
And then when it wasn't that, everybody was just like, okay, this guy is stingy. But I guess it's a positive sign. We are going in some form of a positive. It's almost like now we can see, okay, there's some positive trend that's coming along. And hopefully towards the end of the year, we do see another interest rate cut. And maybe if we're just lucky, it's like 50 basis points or something like that, which would be great. Yeah. Anything else, sir?
Yeah, more, but like, I think we should go into what you've been tapped into.
Okay, I've been tapped into the Diddy case. I mean, everybody knows there's a whole thing with Diddy. There's an ongoing case, and he recently applied for bail, and I think it was $50 million or something like that he put up as his like bail money, and even with that, they refused to give him bail. And what was interesting for me, and it was kind of hilarious, but actually sad, is I saw something online that said that they actually took passports for the entire family, like even the baby. Like I think the baby's like a couple of months old. They took that little baby's passport because they were trying to kind of prove that, look, we're not going to go anywhere. Here's the whole family's passport. You have them, do whatever. But it seems as though the judges and people don't trust him they don't trust him that he trusts himself to make the right decisions. So they were just like, nah. And that whole trend got me on a whole rabbit hole of thinking about like your R. Kellys, your Michael Jacksons, your Bill Cosbys, and all those people in the entertainment industry that were glorified. And at some point, some news came about them and it was like negative. And it's like, all of these people are some form of pioneers in their own right. And it's like, at what point do we separate a person's deeds and their art, right? Because here's this person with a great body of work that everybody celebrated for a long time. R. Kelly songs have been part of people's like journeys coming up. They've been part of special moments, right? And all of a sudden, this guy is found to be guilty of sexual assault, a whole lot of weird molestations, all weird type of things. And now all of a sudden, you're supposed to switch that thing off and separate the person from the art, right? And then when I was on that rabbit hole, I found that, well, I don't know if this is true or not, but I read somewhere that like R. Kelly's royalties go to his victims. So he doesn't receive it. So if you're playing his music, you're kind of, in a way, supporting the victims. But in my mind, I've already switched off from that music. Like every time I hear an R. Kelly song, my mind goes,
And it's like we've also just sort of been taught to...
Yeah, to switch off from it.
Yeah.
But then now it's almost like, okay, it's making some form of resurgence and people are being like, yeah, it's okay now to listen to him. But it's like, I was at a point, for a long period of time, I was listening to this guy's music. It was part of my upbringing. And then I was told, yo, like this guy is, like he's terrible. If you support his music, you're supporting like the sexual violent guy. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, actually the royalties go, you can listen to his music now. But in my head, that image has already been tainted, right? I will not enjoy the music the same way. So I think it's the same thing with Diddy as well. When you go back to Case's music and people decoding points in her life where he was actually abusing her, like when she cut her hair and everybody went on a trend of cutting their hair on the sides, like as a way of being hippie, and us finding out, yo, this guy actually pulled out her hair. And then now it's like you're kind of made to make the references and then detach yourself from the art, but it's not necessarily... You can't really do it. It's hard to actually do the separation. So I went on that rabbit hole for an entire week of just kind of thinking about that and actually how I think about it. And I can't bring myself, at least right now, I can't bring myself to like listen to an R. Kelly song. I can't bring myself to enjoy a Diddy song, even if it's a good song like that Aaliyah song. It's a good song. I liked it for a while. But now it's like, when I hear the song, I'm just like, that guy. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
The other thing I saw, there's a lot of things that happened actually this week. so there's like recent weeks, there's been a lot of funerals around me. Not really in my family, but like friends, families, like people I know from church, whatever. And I'm realizing that I knew all this because I'm an aunt, right? I have nephews and all of that. I'm realizing now that like we are like at an age where we have to be participating aunts and uncles. You know what I mean? Like go to those days where you're like just it's cute.
Passive
I have
about it,
I have a little niece, I have a little nephew, rich auntie vibes. I come in, I go. It's like now we have to be the people that show up for our friends at their funerals and have roles at like manage catering, manage something because we're just going all right. And I was just thinking that like it's so weird to do that now because like there's so many levels and facets of like friendships and relationships where you kind of have to sit back and think, am I close enough to this person to be doing a whole lot of this? And I know that sounds weird thinking about it, because like you're trying to support people as much as you can and be there for people as much as you can. But in certain instances, economically, time-wise, you just can't spread yourself within everybody. And you kind of have to look back and think, okay, prioritize levels of
Fam,
friendship.
I have 2 Lobola celebrations tomorrow. Like literally.
Are you going to both of them?
It's impossible. They're in different provinces.
Oh,
So it's like, it's literally that conundrum, right? Like, yeah. And I mean, I think about hierarchical structures in like a flat sort of manner across the board, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, my approach to it wasn't, I've known this person longer or this. It was just like, I had to just make sense of what makes sense.
But
like
what makes sense?
nothing.
Like, you see.
But I had to make it. I couldn't say I'm not going to go to either or. Like so.
But then it's like, if, say, for example, like I'm getting married, right? My Lobola celebration is this weekend. And maybe another friend of yours, Lloyd is getting married.
Yeah.
And it's his Lobola celebration
Yeah.
this weekend. And like,
That's the
you're
thing.
supposed
It's like
to choose.
it's circumstantial. I feel like
Shucks.
also with this specific one, right? I feel like subconsciously, with the one I'm going to,
Yeah.
I knew I was told prior to the one.
Okay.
So I think subconsciously
Okay.
that was part of sort of the process that I
Okay,
took.
the thinking.
That I do, the
around
thinking
it.
about it. It's like it's fair that I sort of go to the one that was first. But yeah, those are real
'cause
things.
I've been like thinking a whole lot about that. But anyway, this week was it this week? Probably, I don't know if it's this week or the week before, but something that came up was the Super Bowl and who's actually performing at the Super Bowl.
Oh,
And a whole back and
what a whole
forth
loaded
between
thing.
what
Mad
culture, what makes sense from an economic perspective, what makes sense from like just a representation. Like, it was such a weird debate. So this Kendrick Lamar is performing at the Super Bowl, and there was a whole comparison between him performing versus Lil Wayne, because it's actually Lil Wayne's hometown, and people are like. Some people are like, oh, Lil Wayne hasn't been looking well lately. He hasn't been showing up for shows, or when he does show up, he's giving subpar performances. And then on Kendrick's side, it's like, okay, he is this culture kid that just came out from a beef that he just won. He has like all these shows that he has sold out. I think it might have been like one of the biggest hip hop shows that sold out for Kendrick. That title might belong to him. I'm not too sure. So it's like there was this whole debate that was going around.
And I think he's got the second highest grossing hip hop tour of all time.
Yes, exactly that. And there was this whole discourse going around of why Kendrick was the guy that was chosen and not Lil Wayne. And then the beef also made its own little comeback in such a way. And I was just wondering.
It's also Young Money, TDE.
Yeah. And that has been a thing, right? So it just got me thinking. The whole, actually, just Nicki Minaj, Cesar being the only girl, like, you know what I mean? Like, that comparison. I just wondering, like, what are you thinking about it? Where does your...
where I'm at.
Where are you landing? Are you happy that Kendrick... Because I know you're a big Kendrick fan.
Yeah.
But Lil
like
Wayne
the thing about it is, hey, if I'm gonna be honest, right? I'm a fan of hip hop before I'm a fan of anyone. I have a favorite rapper. I like other rappers more than I like other rappers, but I'm a fan of the culture over and above an individual, right? And for me, there's been things that like I've just felt like, nah. Like I felt like Kendrick's activism also can sometimes come across, and I'm intentional with the come across because I don't know what's in his heart, right?
Fair
And
enough.
I'd love to think and believe that his intentions are pure, are genuine, but things get contorted. But his activism can come across as performative sometimes.
Okay.
Right? You look at the Super Bowl, right? I saw the comparison of like him having the flag, like the movie that he was sort of referencing and stuff. But that makes me think of the clip you sent me, or the clip I sent you of art, performance, spirituality,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
the lack thereof. We saw with the Olympics how Christians came out,
and be
Muslims
like,
came out, and they're like,
yeah.
nah, that was derogatory, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, what are you saying when you have a US flag
Flag.
behind you?
Yeah.
You know? So, and the thing is, it's like, there's that space, right? Like you think of namesake, no name gypsy.
Yeah.
Go, Kendrick, go. You know?
Okay.
And with no name, she acknowledged that she said she'd never perform at Coachella.
Yeah.
Right? But she ended up performing at Coachella.
Yeah.
Right? You have a song like, and this is old, bruh, like Resurrection album, Common, early 90s. I used to love her. And her being hip hop, right?
Oh, yeah.
I used to love her. And that's early 90s, right?
Yes.
That's early 90s hip hop,
Yeah.
right? And he's like, if you think of the song, I think, the song Kendrick dropped in the grander scheme of things is so important. The most recent one, where he's
Yes.
like, oh, you guys are so gross. You know, like the industry is gross and we need to, he's sort of saying the industry needs cleansing.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, cleansing with the flag on your, like, you know, cleansing. And with the reason why I'm bringing up that song, right, is because Common brings up this girl, right? She's from the hood. She's a consciousist. She basically educates people. She's an activist. And then eventually she gets lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
Right? And then she starts dwindling, freestyling with things. She gets exposed to R&B. She starts incorporating. I mean, jazz is founded by like, it's a child of jazz. I mean, hip hop is a child of jazz, but it's like also just tapping more into that as well again, and then just freestyling around different things and just wanting to grow this thing and commercialize it, right? And then this girl comes back to the hood, right? But like now she's a different girl.
Yeah.
Now she's not a consciousist anymore. And when she comes back, he confesses to, I mean, he was in love with her in the beginning, but he falls in love with her again. You know, and that's the part that Kendrick never acknowledges, right? What Kendrick says is, I'm not your savior. And Kendrick is our savior, unfortunately, bruh. Like, this podcast wouldn't have started if we didn't go to the Kendrick show.
Fair enough.
So it's like,
Fair
you need to
enough.
understand the magnitude of your influence, right?
Fair enough.
And sort of what you exude.
Yeesh. Okay.
Like these old Kendrick saying, yo, I've been cheating on my wife. Like old, not Mr. Morale Big Step as Kendrick. Yeah, I've been cheating on my wife and I'm done. Right? And then you come again, it's like, I cheated again, but I'm done. You know, so it's like, I think there's a lack of the Kendrick fan base, especially the core fan base, like having him take accountability.
Yeah, holding him accountable.
Holding him
right?
accountable
Just
for
being
some
like,
stuff.
But I think it's...
Just, you know, like, one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time, Aquemini, Outkast.
Yeah.
You've got Return of the G. That's late 90s, right? But same theme, right? Andre's like, yo, you guys are saying I'm gay. You guys are saying I'm on drugs. Like, you guys are just crazy. The industry is a mess. I don't want to be a part of this. So for me, that's where sort of I'm faced with the conundrum. I don't know if you have anything to say on that because I want to delve into other parts.
You just
of the
said
whole
so many
conversation.
things, but what I wanted to touch on was the song that you mentioned.
I used to
the
love her.
common, I used to love her, the Common song. And what happened, I think it was 2021 during COVID or something. I don't remember which year. 2020. J. Cole was kind of low-key dissing No Name and being like, yo, this conscious girl, like she's out here calling out guys for being ignorant, for not supporting the culture, or for not supporting black people, and for not standing their grounds and whatever. But she does not understand that these guys come from the hood. They have not been exposed to the same things as her. They've not been exposed to the same books. You know, that kind of vibe. And I was just thinking that every single time in black communities or in rap culture, let me just bring it back to rap culture, because I want to take it back to Lauryn Hill's album, right? The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. It being voted the most influential album, I think, of the last decade or something like that. And she, I was thinking about that in the sense that there was something that was said, I think it was, 100 most influential albums of, I don't remember which years, but it was between a couple of years, in the recent years, right? And someone was saying that Lauryn Hill said something about she just wants relationships between black men and black women to be reciprocal in such a way, we kind of feed off of each other and
it's reinforcing,
right? But it feels like when there's a battle and when there's something happening within the culture, we tend to pull back black women in some way and be like, oh, black women are not supporting us. Black women are not coming through in the way that they're supposed to be coming through. Black women on the other side being like, yeah, but you guys are not supporting us. You guys are standing on the other side of So within this just little topic of Kendrick being held accountable and him coming out and cheating on his black wife, and then Drake using it in his diss track, and then him bringing her back into his music video for his biggest diss track,
using her as a prop.
Using her as a prop.
Because why doesn't Whitney come out just after Drake drops?
Right.
Everything Drake said is weird or it's wild, right? Or maybe, it's privacy. But it's now he's outside, it's hip hop. So it's if you're engaging, engage fully.
Yeah, right.
If I'm engaging, I'm saying I cheated on my wife and now that's what you bring. So I think even with the rap beef, right, we can go into that a completely different day and I think we would need a few other people so our opinions also don't get contorted. But I feel like there was a lot of spray and pray on Kendrick's end in that he was very strategic, but I'm saying the strategy was very spray and pray in that it's he sort of anticipated what Drake would do, and then he's I'm going to react to it, right? Yeah. But then, so people were focused on that, but what about the accuracy of things?
Yeah. Because even
Drake lied, Kendrick lied.
Right?
But it's
right?
yeah.
But if you actually
and
look
Kendrick is the first person on Euphoria to say, I'll make this about the truth, and you're gonna be about the lies. When he was sort of laying down the game plan of I'm about to annihilate you by telling you what you're about to do. I mean, what you're about to do, you're going to do it, and then I'm gonna be able to react to it accurately, right?
Which he did, but it's that theme again. It's even back when what you referenced the song, the 90s or whatever. You can even go into Andre 3K and Erykah Badu and him releasing "Sorry, Miss Jackson."
Everything's happened, right? And I hate it's the Drake is a fan of the culture, and Kendrick is a product
of the. But you can't run away from that, right?
I don't. I think they are both byproducts of the culture because the culture is too big to Kendrick is referred to as the product because of how he grew up, where he grew up. Yeah. So he's the representation of the epitome of the hip hop child, right? But there's no such thing as that. Modern day kids are growing up in rich are they not products? So we don't have products anymore.
Products of the culture.
Different products. So that's what I'm saying. They are byproducts of the overall culture. I was having a back and forth with J. Cole apologized. And I was it's not the first time someone apologizes in a beef. But it's happened in different contexts. The time Jay-Z's mom said he should apologize to Nas because he went too far. And it's people will be nah, but it's because his mom said it. But it's he apologized.
Yeah. Whatever the reasons behind it is
he apologized. But it's don't look at things like it's new. Even with the Kendrick song, it's Kendrick wants to cleanse the hip hop. But it's so many niggas have been wanting. Most Def has been wanting to cleanse. Most Def hasn't been dropping on platforms, streaming platforms for years. He's selling his music over the counter because he doesn't believe in getting portions of a penny, right? But all these artists, they complain about Daniel Ek and how he treats them, but then they go on to still produce in that market
and release
as opposed
and
to
roll
walking
out
away.
and plan rollouts
So I have-
based on the same
I have
models
more,
that have been used
I have
previously.
more respect for most deaf that walks away, right?
I hear you.
Yeah, I have way more
But
respect.
during the beef, somebody asked, "Who's this guy?" We always talk about this guy.
Yasin Bey, with all due respect.
Not Yasin Bey.
Yeah, but I mean, I needed to correct that.
yes,
yeah.
change most deaf. This guy, we're always talking about him. We wanted to use him as a reference for one of the skits. He has a
Vince.
show on Netflix.
Is it
that
Vince?
awkward show. Vince, right? He was asked during the beef, and they were like, "Yo, what do you think about the beef, and which side are you on?" And he was like, "Yo, there's more important things." Tyler Swift is busy fighting the system.
Yeah.
And
She had to
we're out
re-record
here-
her entire album.
She re-recorded her entire
Yeah.
album, and we are out here fighting on who's like, but like for me, it's just not the biggest thing that's on my mind, and I get that, right? I understand why and where he's coming from. He's thinking from this. Even the beef in itself feeds into the system that you guys are trying to go against. And you saying, "Oh no, I hate the culture. I don't want to be part of the culture," but you still feeding into the culture and not mentioning actually the biggest problems that people are facing
But
within
at
the
my
culture.
core,
Like,
right, I need to point out that I genuinely empathize with Kendrick because we all experience what Kendrick is experiencing in different walks of life, right?
Okay.
I could literally just want to make a big difference, but I walk into an environment where I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, that's
Like I'm
true.
filled with devils. So I feel like we also have different
Fair.
roles to play.
And then you get caught up in kind of sustaining yourself and being alive.
So we
and-
need to acknowledge that different people have different roles to play, and different people have different are different in terms of their bandwidth to be able. So someone could go in what you would consider a very devilish space, a very intoxicated space, but their role is to be the light
in
right?
that space.
And that's scary because there's just so much darkness, and it could literally take
It could
them.
change them.
But those are some people. I know I personally wouldn't take it there, but I understand that we're so different, and that's where we need to empathize with it's like just having principles in life,
But even the Diddy
Principles,
situations,
yeah.
right? I saw a TikTok and someone was saying that what all these famous people experience is the same things that we experience, setting our boundaries, valuing the right things in life, like having people to love, having people to care for, and the basic principles.
Wanting something and just approaching it the wrong way, and just not being conscious
Right.
of the fact that you're approaching it the wrong way.
And the difference with them is that they have the money, they have the influence, they're famous, so they can do everything.
There's a
on
magnifying
bigger
glass.
right?
Kendrick needs
Magnifying glass,
needs to
and
acknowledge
you
it.
can do it at a bigger scale. You have more money, so if your principles are screwed and you're trying to figure it out and you're just not getting it right, the mistakes you make could be bigger because of the influence, because of the magnifying glass, because of the money that you have and the resources that you have disposable to you that would allow you to even escape situations that maybe for a normal person that would have been a warning to be like, "Yo, don't do it again because you're going to get caught." But for somebody who has power and influence, they can get away with it. And the more they do it, it's that cycle. All of us are struggling with the same things in the core and in the fundamental basis of things. We are all in the same struggle. It's just that it's escalated and it's in front of us.
That's the thing where it's like when you see someone that you care so deeply about,
Yeah.
Mr. Morale was, and even when it dropped, when it had back, I had my first listen and I was like, okay, this is different. And that's another thing that I like so much about Kendrick, right? Is
Yeah.
that he shifts the frontier of the culture when he drops, right? He doesn't just drop. You can make an assumption of what a Drake album will sound like. He's gonna have a hit, he's gonna have a few songs for the girls, but with Kendrick, you don't know what to
pushes the
expect.
bar.
He pushes the bar, right? So I love that about him.
But then,
right?
you know what? Back to that and just so Kendrick pushing the bar and you guys not expecting what this guy is going to bring, and us knowing now he has faults and he has confessed his faults over records, over songs and whatever, and then we compare it to guys like R. Kelly, Diddy, or Bill Cosby, who kind of had faults, but we just didn't know about them. They never came out and kind of accepted, hey guys, hey, this is my struggle. It seems as though we are more sympathetic to a Kendrick who comes out and says, like, yo, I have my faults. I've been cheating on my wife. I'll never do that again.
That's why I say Kendrick is your savior. That's why I really say Kendrick is your savior, because he's saintly. He's treated saintly, especially by his core fan base. And I like how Lupe Fiasco is able to come out, or Jay Electronica is able to come out and say, yo, Drake is fire. Drake is up there. And like, Lupe Fiasco is an alien.
Yeah.
You know, like, Jay Electronica is, you know, so it's like, and the thing is, you can always come up with a reason to not want to listen to them. Like, hey, Lupe has had this tiff with Kendrick, so this is personal. It has nothing to do with, or like, you know, it has nothing to do with his genuine opinion on hip hop. It has everything to do with Kendrick. Or same with Jay Electronica, because he once rented, and it's like, yo, he just has beef with Kendrick, but it's not. And that's what I don't like about the core fan base, where it's like Kendrick is this.
Hold him up.
He's saintly. But yeah, the Kendrick being sort of a shifter of the frontier, right? And him now being associated with all this nonsense, right? Because you look at Jack Dorsey, right? The guy that acquired, he's the co-founder of Twitter. He acquired Tidal.
Okay.
He acquired Tidal. Follow me here.
I'm following
So he's very close associates with Jay-Z, right?
Okay.
Jack Dorsey and Drake have beef over a girl, over a woman. So you think about Jay-Z's decision to also choose Kendrick, like, did Jack Dorsey now have an if? So I don't like it when people that have genuine intentions are now stuck between, like, you know, things like that. Like, but also in addition to that, like, you brought up the business aspect of it. Like, it made, like, this is all, it makes business sense, right?
Yeah.
It's because the Super Bowl, and I think I'll forget this thought. The Super Bowl is about, it's very short, right? It's about 15 to 20. Like, I get that Lil Wayne has been forgetting his lyrics, right?
Yeah.
I get that he's been sucking at performances, but it's literally a 15 to 20 minute show, right? And in that show, you have other acts as well. So obviously Lil Wayne was going to incorporate other young men. Drake was going to be there. Nicki was there. Rich Homie Kwan, if he was still alive. Like, everyone that's Tiger maybe, but like everyone that's contributed in that ecosystem was going to be there. So he was probably going to not have to memorize that many lyrics if he had to re-memorize them. And it's literally just a performance that is short, right? People have also been saying the same thing about Kanye. Like, Kanye is the Terry, he's been forgetting his lyrics at shows and stuff. And I'm like, guys, like, there is no hip hop album rollout that's been better than Donda. Like, nothing. Ever since Donda's rollout, nothing ever since Donda's been better than the Donda rollout. Nothing. Nothing. So like, from a production standpoint, I genuinely believe that modern day Ye, for a 15-minute show, could do a way better show than Kendrick. Like,
Fair.
Like, you're giving him time. So you need to think of when he's on tour, he's in Japan. He's like, sometimes he just doesn't have the time to prepare for a show.
But then there's a lot of songs. There's a lot of things happening.
There's a lot of things. That's what I'm saying. Like, now it's the Super Bowl. You're not gonna passively do it.
Go into it. Yeah, it's a very important
show. So these chats.
But I wanted to ask,
wild.
based off of that, do you think that the view that we have of Kendrick being our savior, being this saint, has been pushed by mainstream media, and him being like the golden child that has been chosen to be a representation? Because if you think about other people who have done the things that he has done, or have been in his position, have been called out, but not just by his fan base, not just by their fan base or the people that support them, but by mainstream media as well. There's people that have actively went out of their way to draw comparisons or to point out those things that are not working, or those things that the person is not doing right. So the fact that Kendrick does not receive the same treatment, do you think that, like, he's like the undercover,
like, look at the attack.
golden
Like,
child?
look at the attack on Drake with the beef. Like, look at how many people just came out.
Yeah.
Right? You can tell that this is bigger than, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Kendrick, I genuinely feel like he's on his own path. He's doing his own thing, right? But there's just so much more that is happening, right? And people are using him.
Actually, on that point, right? This week, I saw something going around. I saw a video or something, and somebody was basically saying, and I think this is a repeated thought, but somebody was actually saying that black people, specifically black women, are overly supported, overly motivated, overly conferenced out. There's so many conferences.
Incubated,
Encouraged. Yay, here you are, do it yourself, pull
But
yourself on board.
underfunded.
Right. And I've been thinking about that do you think that they've been set up for failure, right? In such a way that
It's back to the Vince chat. Like, you remember with the trailer when I was like, Kendrick won the battle, but he lost the war with himself.
Yeah.
When I was writing that, right, for the script, I only had like that one sentence or that one point of view. I didn't think about it too deeply, but now it's hitting me.
Yeah. It's like yeah, you see it as it comes up. Uri, okay, there is a lot of layers into the beef itself. Like
It's like when the first time I heard Ye speak on Vivendi, I was like, okay, I went into a rabbit hole of, okay, what's Vivendi? And you're like, oh, okay, they are dudes that actually eat off of all the nonsense, right? And the people that benefit most from the nonsense aren't the people that participate in it.
It's like Hunger Games. Like it's all, and I feel that's what it is. It's like we're all in this world, and we've been thrown things, and we're dealing with things how we deal with them. We are entertaining people. We are out there doing a whole lot. But there's somebody out there determining what happens in the games, what obstacles to bring now. Let's bring the beef. Let's see how the culture reacts to the beef. Anyway, it brings more viewership. It brings more people interested in the culture, more people talking about it. We win at the end. The people fighting, whatever happens to them, happens to them. We don't really care as long as there is some form of like cycle of wealth or of income that's coming through that, it's passive. I don't have to do anything. I don't even have to participate in it. I just need to throw in the bowl and everybody does the work for us.
Very popular Breakfast Club interview with that exec, when he was being asked, that Jewish exec, when he was being asked, like, how do you feel about like making money off of like black people killing each other and stuff? I'll try find it and just like, and it'd be like
really rough, particularly on women. But I think it helped change the course of the crack epidemic. I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
Well, being a crackhead wasn't cool back then. Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup and.
It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying
it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him. So you bring his name up. I don't even know him. So
y'all made a lot of money together.
Made a lot of money.
Come on, Leo. Don't do that to him.
I don't know him. I really don't. So, I don't know what to tell you.
How do you feel? And he's like, now we need to eat. He was just, he didn't.
Straight up.
Yeah, like, he didn't care. He didn't care.
Do you know exactly that thought is on a movie called American Fiction? It is with Sterling K. Brown. There's a lead guy, I forgot his name. I've referenced that movie before. But basically in the movie, right, this guy is a writer, right? And he writes like thought-provoking books and like books that normally black people aren't supposed to be, according to the culture, aren't supposed to be writing. So he's not getting published because they're like, this is not a black book. they want a black book, right? So he happens to go into this book launch as I think it's as a judge or something. And then there's this lady. She's talking about, the lady is Issa Rae. And she's on the show and she's talking about her book and it's celebrated. People are giving her flowers. They're like, yo, this is hitting hard and whatever. And the book itself is very filled with black stereotypes, like American black stereotypes, like black people not knowing how to speak proper English or proper American English. So it's based on violence, what is portrayed in the media as being the black culture, right? And he's like, what the hell? She's getting more praise than me just writing a book that's thought-provoking, that's forcing people to think. So he goes out of his way to actually intentionally, as a troll, to write a book that is filled with black stereotypes just to see what happens. Guess what? The book goes out to become a bestseller. I think it became the best book that he has ever written. He was touring the world and whatever. And throughout the show, they just document how this guy starts feeling like he has lost himself because yes, this thing that he started as a troll, as a joke, became a bestseller, but he was feeding into
Dogecoin. Yeah, but his name is Leo Cohen.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
the exec.
Yeah.
But it's a machine, bruh, that's set up to run in a specific way, and the more you feed into that, the more somebody else benefits. And there's people sitting back and looking at us fight each other and be like, that's it. That's the one. That's exactly what we're looking for.
Time just flew.
I have so many things to go through. Okay, I have a question to ask you. And, okay, I'm just going to ask it. I think we might have touched on this, so I think it should be an easy answer.
Okay.
I'm not even going to fight it. Would you rather have a baby within a marriage?
Defund podcasts. Yo.
Another podcast? But would you rather have a baby within marriage, right? And that relationship does not work out? Or would you rather have a baby without getting married from just a relationship that just didn't work out? And you're like, oh, okay, have a baby.
Ideally, I'd rather just have it in a marriage.
Why?
I mean, I feel like it speaks to just the genuineness of the relationship for me.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like you wouldn't get married to someone you don't see a future with. So it would make sense to make a baby with someone you see a future with.
So the intention of trying to kind of bring a child into a structure into some form of a structure, opposed to having a baby outside of a marriage way. But what do you think about the idea that it's the same? You would still be regarded as something.
It's not the same for me.
Okay?
Yeah, it's not the same for me.
And do you think culture...
I mean, we live in a culture or in a time where, people have different views and perspective on things. So yeah, my personal perspective is that I'm better off if I'm married to my significant other, and I'm better off raising my kids in a 2-parent household as opposed to co-parenting with someone I just decided to have a child with.
Do you know why I'm asking that question? And I guess we've spoken about it, but it's because I saw a Kaizer Chiefs player, I think he's 24 or something.
I saw that.
Got married, and people were like, "You're married at 24."
Society is messed up, bruh. It's so messed up. It's so... you just be seeing the wildest views get support, and you're just
because when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, this thing... Honorable. Men's is doing the right thing.
Look at our national rugby team.
Right. Right.
If you want a case study on family values, look at that, right? And maybe that doesn't look good for you, or maybe that isn't a thing for you, right? And that's okay.
Is it okay?
That's why I was like, it's okay for them.
Okay?
That's why I was saying.
Is it okay?
That's why I was I was a bit jittery when I was like principles, because it made me think of like that recent principal tweet that like that girl was getting backlash for, and she's like, bro, based off of my principles, you know. And then someone responds, and they're on like, nah, but your principles are gonna get you in trouble with society.
Society's gonna judge you for
Society's
your principles.
Like, even when you're typing that and like you read, that's why you're like.
I feel like I agree that we all have different principles, and we're living in a world where the wildest ideas get supported. Like, for example, you say people being against
I know where you're going with this.
24-year-old.
I saw notice saying something like someone came across his sister.
Yeah.
And was like, yo, your sister's so nice. And he's like, bruh, you don't know. I'm the better human being. I'm the better human being.
I saw that.
You don't know my sister.
You also don't know. And he was...
Yeah, he's like, if my cousin was saying that. You don't know my sister.
I digress, but yeah, not as back, guys. Anyway.
Yeah,
it's
what
back
a problem.
and better. But you know what? Like, from that principle, I feel like at some point, as society, we need to be honest with certain principles.
I don't think we're ready to be honest.
Yeah, but we need to be at some point.
I don't think we're ready to be honest. I don't think we're ready to be honest, because it's like everything is sort of indoctrinated. So I'm willing to accept that I'm part of certain cults.
Yeah.
I'm okay with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's us, fam.
Yeah.
Oh, I think mine is obvious. I'd rather have a baby within marriage because it just makes sense. Anyway, peace out for the...
Peace out.